Hey guys, my name is Justin Pendleton and I am one of this year's NLC members. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the NSCS PACE program, but specifically how to create a stellar PACE assembly. And to do that, we're going to have a little Q&A segment with some questions from members across the country. Well, Emily, PACE assembly is actually the second step in the PACE program, in between actual mentoring and the March to College campaign. The actual assembly is held at either the middle school or the high school that your chapter is partnering with, and the focus is on getting younger students really enthused about higher education. But also, it's about getting them necessary information to make informed choices about that next big step in their lives. Alright, that's a very good question. The first step is undoubtedly to find a good time for both your partner school and for your chapter. Next, it's important to make sure you have a good turnout from your chapter in terms of member participation, because the more members you have at the assembly means more opportunities for you and your chapter to engage with the students that are attending. High member attendance is also a crucial time to show the administration that you really care about the program and that you care about the children's academic and social success. Well then, the good news is that the hardest part is over. Scheduling is always the hardest part. Now all you and your chapter have to do is think back to the time when you were looking at colleges for the first time yourselves. What kind of questions did you have? What do you wish somebody would have told you? A couple of really big things that almost all teenagers go through is, where do I go? Do I go away from home? Do I stay in state? Do I go abroad into a different country? How do I make that choice? That's something you can definitely talk about. Another really huge one is, how am I going to pay for college? Am I going to use grants? Am I going to use loans? Am I going to use scholarships? What am I going to do? And to touch on those things, and I definitely think you'll be on the right track. Well, Chrissy, that's a good question. I think the most important thing to remember is that you're not going to lecture the students. PACE Assembly is all about student engagement. In your presentations, it can be more helpful for you to get a student right from the audience and have them come read your NSCS introduction. Another example of how to get students engaged right from the beginning is to split them up into 2 teams and ask them to create a list and see who can come up with a longer list of reasons to pursue higher education. Those are just a couple of examples, but there are so many more. Remember, PACE Assembly is all about the little things. I swear, these questions keep getting better and better. Nick, the NSCS has actually just rolled out a brand new high school honor society called the Society of Torch and Laurel. Torch and Laurel is based on a model very similar to NSCS, but it's geared towards high school students and their families, and the emphasis is on the transition from high school to college. Torch and Laurel is invitation only, and to receive an invitation, you have to have at least one of 3 things. You have to have a PSAT score of 190 or above, you have to have an ACT score of 27 or above, and you have to have a GPA of 3.5 or above. One of the great benefits of being a member of Torch and Laurel is that you get your own NSCS college mentor, as well as the opportunity to apply for college-bound scholarships. If scholarship money doesn't get you excited for having good grades, I don't know what will. Well, Mark, that's a very interesting question. I think to answer that, I want you to think back about a time when you were in middle school or high school and you had to go to assembly. There's probably a time when you wanted to ask a question, but there either wasn't time or they just didn't have the opportunity. I think that's where you should start. Getting a Q&A session, very much like what we're doing right here, gives the kids a chance to ask specific questions about what they really want to know. Lastly, I think a strong farewell and a specified thank you to the teachers and administrators of your partner school will go a long way in making them feel very valued and strengthen the relationship with your program. Well guys, that about wraps up this segment of the NLC How-To Guide. But remember, if you find yourself lost in planning for your PACE assembly, follow these 4 words: professionalism, introductions, networking, and kindness. Or if you prefer, think pink. If you have any more questions, be sure to ask the NLC on Facebook or Twitter. Until next time, see you guys later.